Hello and welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome back to the channel, guys. And coming up for you today is a very special video indeed, because we are going to be hearing from our president, Joan Laporta, who is going to be reflecting there on his first 12 months back in office as the Barça president. And of course, in that time, a lot has happened. We're going to be talking about Ronald Koeman sacking Laporta, responding to Koeman's recent words. We're also going to be talking about Xavi's arrival at the club, of course, the departure, the very painful departure of Lionel Messi, and also the possible arrival of Erling Haaland this summer. Laporta had a lot to say, and it is all coming up. Let's do it. Because indeed, right here today, it has been 1 year since Joan Laporta returned as the Barça president, replacing the outgoing Josep Maria Bartomeu. And I still remember very, very vividly the excitement of a year ago when Laporta returned to the club. The joy that we all felt. And I do have to say, I think he's delivered on that optimism and the hope that we had of him 1 year ago. Because of course, there's no question about it, that it hasn't been easy. It's not all been highs, there have been some lows as well, and there have been some very difficult moments, but I think given the situation that Laporta walked into, the kind of mess that he inherited from the previous management, it was always going to take an enormous amount of work and a lot of difficult decisions to get us back where we want to be and sort of turn the club around from the disaster that we were heading towards. And I think Laporta, along with Mattia Almani, who has proven to be an outstanding appointment in that area, I think that those two have really been very brave in their decision. They've often been open as well, and that is why today Laporta again is going to be talking us through these past 12 months, and especially now, with Xavi at the helm, how we are all pulling in the right direction, and how we are all back on the right path. Because Laporta spoke to Barça TV along with plenty of the big Spanish news outlets over the past 24 hours, where he was answering a number of questions there about his time since returning as the president. One of the first ones there was, how has your first year been? How has it actually worked out compared to what you expected? And Laporta said, in part, yes it has, but also in part, not really. So it has been more complicated, more difficult at times than I expected. He said basically it's because of the salary limit that was imposed upon us. He said it's complicated a lot of different things, and he said for that reason, I really do value what we've been able to do in that area. Laporta was then asked, indeed, in your campaign, you said that you wanted to excite the fans again. Do you feel as though you have achieved that? Do you feel as though you are moving in the direction of that again? And Laporta said, I did say that we would bring the joy back, and he said we're always working every day, every hour to achieve that. And he said at the moment, what I see is more hope than happiness. But he said we are all aware, though, that that hope can become happiness because we're working so hard to achieve that, to win trophies and bring joy back to the supporters. And I think that's an important comment there, because I think that's what we're all feeling right now. A lot of hope, a lot of promise, but I think Laporta is very much aware that we still have to deliver upon that. There is still plenty of work to do, and it's good to see that right throughout the club, from Laporta to Xavi, they still know about the improvements that we need to make, and that is what's really going to get us back up where we need to be. Speaking, of course, of Xavi, of his arrival as the Barcelona coach, Laporta was glowing, absolutely glowing in his words about Xavi. He said he has responded in style to the opportunity here that was given to him by the club. He said, I'm sure that he's going to bring us joy for many years to come as the coach. He said he's somebody who knows the club, who loves the club, who respects the club's decisions. And Laporta did say, since my return as the president, it's been the best thing, the very best thing, to see the way that Xavi and the team are bringing back the playing style. That has been such an exciting thing for me. Laporta went on, he said Xavi has changed the team's mentality. He's very clear about the way that we have to play, and he said now the team creates chances, the team scores goals, we play with the system that has made us the reference in football, and again, there is still room for improvement to be able to compete at the highest level. And I think the one thing that Laporta is so proud of Xavi about, and in particular what was the driving force behind bringing him in, replacing Koeman, is the fact that, yeah, Xavi has brought back the style that we know and love. He has brought back the very essence of Barcelona, and that's something that Laporta has always felt very, very strongly about. And with him as president, he has always promised the Barca way. And speaking indeed about Ronald Koeman, who of course did depart the club after Laporta sacked him back in November, and of course very recently we spoke about it, that Ronald Koeman came out with some really damning words there, very much hitting out at Laporta for that departure, and the timing of those words from Koeman, very, very intriguing indeed. But Laporta, I feel, was much more respectful in what he had to say with regard to Koeman. He said, at the end of last season, honestly, I already did have some doubts about him, but he said I did transmit that to him. I told him what I was feeling, but he said Ronald Koeman wanted to continue. And given our respect for him, and because of the figure that he is at this club, he said we did decide to give him a bit more of a chance. But Laporta again admitted that looking back, I would have taken the decision sooner. Laporta admits there that given the value of hindsight, he would have indeed sacked Koeman sooner. He said, I should have listened to my intuition, but he did say, I will always remember Ronald for his goal at Wembley, of course winning Barca's first European Cup. Laporta said, I was there that day, and I'll remember him for being a coach who bet on the young players. He said, if he is feeling hurt right now, with the words that he said recently, I hope that's a feeling that goes away. But of course, when you are talking about hurt, when you're talking about pain, and indeed some of those low moments during these 12 months with Laporta as the Barca president, of course, you're always going to look to the departure of Lionel Messi. That is something that I don't think any of us ever expected to happen in the way that it did. I don't even think Laporta, he never ever knew that it was going to work out in that way, and he admits that it was his lowest moment. He said, the worst moment of my presidency since returning has definitely been Messi's forced departure. He said it was the saddest, most painful decision that I've had to go through, and he said I would never, ever have wanted to make that decision at all. But Laporta again, as he has been the whole time regarding Messi's exit, he said, look, it had to happen. He said, I don't regret it because we had to put the institution above everybody else, even ahead of the best player in the world. He said we had to do it because of the situation that we inherited. It was what it was. And he said, those of us who love Barca, we know that the history can still continue, and with work and well thought out decisions, we can continue on the path of success. And of course, ahead of the upcoming summer transfer window, there has been plenty written, there's sort of rumours every single day surrounding Barca and their possible pursuit of Erling Haaland. And of course, very recently, there have been a number of reports that claim Xavi actually met with Haaland just last week in Munich to possibly discuss there the plan of the club, where Haaland would fit into Xavi's idea at Barcelona. And that was something actually that Xavi didn't confirm nor deny happened, which is very, very interesting there to bear in mind. Laporta, though, was much more reserved. He said, I can't really talk about individual players. He said, because if I do that, it's going to drive up their price. It doesn't really do us any favours. But he did say both Mattia, together with Jordi, they're working hard and they know what Xavi wants. That has been clearly explained to them. He said, we plan to strengthen all areas of the first team. And crucially here, something I feel that is very, very important when you're looking at the top players and when you're looking at signing the very, very best. Laporta did say the advantage that we have is that players of great quality, they want to come to Barcelona. And that is a very important premise. He said, I don't need to tell you about the player because everybody already knows him. Finally though, Joan Laporta did give an update as well, speaking about important players that we want to have at the club. Two that we definitely want to keep hold of are Xavi and Araujo, players that we are currently negotiating new contracts with. And Laporta said the players will have a very big say in these renewals. He said if a player wants to stay at Barcelona, he will stay. And that is why I'm grateful to the players who have renewed. And he said, I hope that it will be the same for Xavi and Araujo as it was for Ansu, Pedri, Nico Gonzalez. I hope very much to reach an agreement with them very soon. And indeed, guys, I just thought there that it would be very interesting to sort of hear from Laporta after what has been a very turbulent year. I think anybody coming into this role at Barcelona, with the amount of work that we had to do, with the amount that we had to change in a very short space of time, it would have been tough for anybody. There are always going to be some things that went wrong, some things maybe we would have wanted to go a bit differently, but here we are today. We're with Xavi, we're with Laporta, and we are all trying to move again in that right direction and drag the club and pull the club back up to the very, very top. That is where we hope to be heading, and that is the path that we are on. Please do let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below on Laporta's reflections and what do you make of his first year as the Barça president again. I will wait to hear those thoughts, and of course tomorrow I will see you for all of the build-up ahead of Barça against Galatasaray. I will see you then, and I thank you indeed for watching and for all of your support. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.